All right, guys, it's episode 2 on our special AFCON podcast on the football buffet. Oluwatobi is my name, Footy Tobes. We're coming to you once again. In the studio today, I am not alone, as usual. I have Paul with me, and I also have Toby. So I'll allow them just say some introductions this day. Over to you, Toby.
It's good to be here. Another exciting. What's going to be an exciting episode of the podcast? Toby Olivi is here again. I can't wait to dig in. Not so good results. Not so good results in the first game against Equatorial Guinea. We had our worries, but there we have it. Today we'll be looking forward to the next game.
It's already showing in our countenance already. I don't look very sharp, right? So I can see you don't look. Maybe Paul might be excited because he made the right prediction. Over to you, Paul.
It wasn't a reaction that I wanted to come to fruition. It's not something I wanted it to happen, but even though I felt it would happen, but it's good to be on the second edition of the AFCON special of football thing, where we talk about the African Cup of Nations and hopefully the Super Eagles win it this time around.
Okay, nice introduction there. So, on the program today, we are going to be going through a few things. We're going to talk about the review of the Nigeria versus Equatorial Guinea game. Also, Paul will be giving us some news coming out of the Super Eagles camp in preparation for the game against the Ivory Coast. We're also going to be talking about general news on AFCON, and then we'll go into the predictions. And Toby will be taking us through some of the tactical setup as we have seen so far of the Super Eagles, and also in preparation for the Ivory Coast game. So I'll start with Paul. You made the right prediction. What do you think happened
Yeah,
on Sunday?
yeah. Basically, what I expected Equatorial Guinea to be maybe conservative, try to control the attack, control the opponent, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, not go too much forward, just try as much as possible to be conservative while they relax and see how to hit Nigeria on the break. And that's basically what they did. They had just one shot on target. It was basically about them trying to contain the Super Eagles of Nigeria and take their chance when they had it. They had one chance and they took it. Nigeria had several chances. We only scored one goal. So unfortunately for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But for Equatorial Guinea, the game plan was good from the coach Micha. And at the end of the day, got a point. So I just felt going into the game that the Super Eagles would not be able to dominate the Equatorial Guineans, and that's why I predicted it to end in a draw. Unfortunately, that it ended out. I would have loved my prediction not to come to fruition, so that the Super Eagles win. But this is happening.
I know some folks would have loved to stake on that prediction. Toby, for one, I know he would have loved to stake on that.
I should have.
Yeah. So yeah. So
You are so sure Super Eagles win.
yeah,
I was
he sounded
optimistic.
very confident on the last show. He was saying it was going to be a one goal win to the Super Eagles, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So Toby, in terms of the tactical setup of that game, right? I've seen quite a number of comments online, and a lot of people seem to think that Osipa Pasero actually did a good setup. It was just maybe the players didn't actually implement it as they should have implemented it. Because if you look at the way the setup was, it wasn't something we're expecting. It was something different, and it showed a kind of innovation in terms of how the players were set up and how Osepa wanted to approach the game. Do you think the setup
Mm.
was right given the kind of opposition we had on Sunday?
Yeah, it was a good setup. There were a few surprises in there. The keeper, Stanley Wambale, a lot of us didn't expect him to start, but he was in goal. He didn't have a lot to do. Like Paul said, he only faced one shot, and he considered from that that will not do him a lot of encouragement. Facing one shot and considering that on your debut in a major tournament. But yeah, another surprise was Alassane, the man from Royal Antwerp in Belgium, starting. He was formidable in the middle of the park. He was all over the place, covered a lot of ground. He worked his socks off really, and I think he just gives that breath of fresh air. We've been saying we don't have enough midfielders, but we have a certain Alassane somewhere, and I'm glad that we've just unearthed a gem for the national team. So those were the surprises actually, and also not having Chukwueze in the lineup, having Lukman and Simon, both of whom we've known to be regular starters on the left side of the attack, but one had to play on the right, the other on the left, though they were switching intermittently during the game. But so that was it about our lineup. It was a good setup for me. The midfield was tight and compact with Alassane and Frank Onyeka in there. Will be just in front of them, giving the offensive presence. And we had a lot of chances to be. We could have won that game, even by the more than the one goal I was hoping for. We created a lot of chances. We had 7 shots on target, and we were only able to score 1 goal. And it was right after we conceded. Just after the kickoff restart, after conceding, we went straight to score them. And one funny thing for me to be and Paul from that attacking phase of play was immediately after we kicked off, Semi Ajayi was the one trying to win the first ball, because we passed the ball, sent it to the back, and then there was a long ball forward. And it was Semi Ajayi, the centre-back partner of Trustekon, that was trying to win the ball. And I was surprised that this is not a set piece. This is just straight from kickoff. So I think that there we should give kudos to Pasero and his team, for that innovation and that bravery, sending the centre-back up top as a kind of like an auxiliary striker. He tried to win the first ball. He didn't win it, but I think it was very influential in us retaining possession. The ball luckily fell to Lukman, who then crossed the ball to Osimhen for the equalizer. I think that play there should be credited to Pasero and his team, because that's good tactical play.
Yes, so yeah, like you rightly called it there. I think I know that quite a number of us have actually been criticizing the coach for a while now, but I think in terms of the setup in that game, it showed some level of innovation. It was different from the usual setup that we have seen, especially against Zimbabwe and Lesotho during the World Cup qualifiers. This was a lot different. So I come to you, Paul. Any player surprised you in that game? Do you have any player that you think maybe positively and also negatively that was a surprise to you in that game?
Negatives, I think for the players, basically I know their strengths. I don't think anybody had a negative performance from what I know exactly they can bring to the fore for the Super Eagles. Positives as well, I think Ola played better than I expected. Yeah, he didn't really do enough going forward.
But I know we don't criticize where for here.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit better than what I expected. So Ola, yeah, I think he had a decent game. For Alassane Yusuf, a lot of people are calling him as the positive for the Super Eagles, but for me, basically, I wasn't surprised. He had a fantastic performance, but that's what I expected from him playing in that particular position, because I've seen him play for Royal Antwerp. His quality this season has been very good. He's a shocker that we needed Wilfred Ndidi to get injured before bringing him in. He should have been in the squad for months. Should have been at the AFCON qualifiers. Should have been in the setup for the World Cup qualifiers against Lesotho and Zimbabwe. But unfortunately, he wasn't available for those games. They didn't call him up. If not for the injury to Wilfred Ndidi, we wouldn't have even seen Alassane Yusuf at this Nations Cup. And it shows you the poor nature of our tactical setup when it comes to the Super Eagles. If someone as good as Alassane Yusuf has not been in the setup, and we are calling up Frank Onyeka every now and then, with all due respect to Frank Onyeka. So no, definitely positives, not so much when it comes to positive. I think I wasn't wowed by any of the players, and when it comes to negative, I wasn't surprised with the poor performances of some of the players. The likes of Trustekong, the likes of Semi Ajayi, I don't think they can do better than what they did on Sunday.
Yeah, so for me, if I'm going to rate the player, I think didn't really give a good performance for me. Will be Frank Onyeka, really, and also maybe it will be and Toby has said if she cut it will be some slack, right? So I would try to do that.
Yeah, I think we are done with cutting people slacks.
Yeah, we are done with that though. So, but for Frank, I think Frank didn't also. He probably didn't understand the business, right? I think for Frank, the way he plays for Brentford, I think that would probably be the best way we can play him and get the best out of him in the Super Eagles. He's not really a player who plays 90 minutes. He comes in maybe when they're already leading 1-0 and they need to.
Don't you feel Frank Onyeka is not just at that level? We have seen a lot of defensive midfielders at this African Cup of Nations.
But he's not a defensive midfielder. He's not.
He basically plays as a defensive midfielder.
Oh, he's not.
He's not your box-to-box midfielder. He's not your creative midfielder. It's not your kind of your modern day central midfielder. It's more of a defensive midfielder. And that's what he was doing, sitting in front of the centre backs on Sunday. Did he do a good job? Not really. He was dispossessed a couple of times in the middle of the park on Sunday. Also, he wasn't good with taking the ball forward on Sunday as well. So for me, Frank Onyeka, I'm not surprised with what he did. I've seen him play for the Super Eagles severally. He doesn't bring his A game to the fore. I'm surprised he is one of the first names on the team sheet.
Yeah, because I've seen the other AFCON games, right? And I think something I think we miss out on in our own game would be a player in the mode of an Anguissa or a player in the mode of a Bezuma, right? That you can see the presence. Yeah, you can see, not really creative, but at least you can see that presence, physicality, being available in the middle of the pack.
That's what we tried would have brought to.
Yeah, that's what make me.
But guys, you've forgotten that you don't give what you don't have. You know? We don't have it right now.
Yeah, that's just it.
So there's nothing you can do about it. It is not.
No, I think Toby should be specific. Frank doesn't have it. Frank, he doesn't have it.
Apart from Ndidi, who does? Alassane played and we didn't see it. We only saw a lot of industry, but we didn't see that presence.
No, I think Alassane was playing in a different role. Alassane was like the box.
Yes, I get that. But
while Frank was sitting in front of the defenders. Frank was the shield.
I don't see Alassane being able to shoot. Alassane looks like someone that has an eye for the opposition area for the final third.
Okay.
I don't see him as someone that would like to sit and be imposing and be dominant in the middle half of the field. Frank, that might not be his forte as well. But we've not got Ndidi. There's nothing we can do. You know, I won't play around for Yendika there. I wouldn't do that.
I agree with Toby. Frank Oyedika can do the job.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you play?
Same as Ivory cannot do it. He cannot do it. So you don't.
So that brings us back to the coach. The coach not trying out other defensive midfielders for a long period of time.
Yeah,
we've tried a few of them. Yeah. If you remember, we tried Kingsley Michael at some point. If you remember,
but how many games did we give those guys? We had ample time to try different players in different positions, call up more defensive midfielders. That was never done, and that's why we're in this situation.
Like you said earlier, even Alassane was never called up till now.
Was not called up. It wasn't in the plan for this Nations Cup.
Exactly.
So that is on the coach. It's on the coach.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So, well, for me, you didn't ask me, but I have to chip it in. You guys are leaving out a very important culprit on Sunday, Moses Simon and Zaidu Sanusi. But Moses Simon actually was dreadful. Moses Simon was horrible. Probably one of the worst performances I've seen for the Eagles. I know a lot of people are not surprised at his performance because he's someone that we know to be very inconsistent. You know, he can have 2 good games for the Eagles, and his next 5 games, you don't even know where he's good at. He can't even cross the ball, he can't beat his man. You know, in the last Nations Cup, I remember it was impeccable. You know, and everyone was asking that this is Nigeria's Lionel Messi. This is, they were likening him to different top stars. You know,
at the last AFCON, right?
Yeah, the last AFCON during the group stage, and since then,
for just 2 games.
We've not seen anything from Victor.
It's always been
Simon. You know, against Equatorial Guinea, it was dreadful. Zaidu Sanusi as well, horrible. Had the stupid yellow card for dealing and throwing as well. You know, this is someone that
missed several chances as well. He missed
the counter attack. Yeah, you know, this is someone that plays week out for Porto. You know, in the Champions League and other competitions. And you know, for them giving us that kind of horrible performance in the major competition, it just shows that a lot more should be done. You know, by these players, they need to give more. You know, when you are being called up by the national team, we need to give more. We know what you're able to do. We see what we do for a national team. Why don't you replicate same for the national team?
Yeah, because I remember Zaidu actually missed two sitters. There was one he was assisted by Iwobi, and he was trying to square play again while he was through and go, right? I think there was one also in the first half as well that he got square play from the right hand side from Alassane, and he just couldn't place his feet, and he played the ball over, right? So quite a number of players for me didn't give their all. So I would want to think maybe as the tournament progresses, we'll see some improvements. So I know, Paul, you followed the presser of the Super Eagles. Can you give us some news coming out of the camp of the Super Eagles?
Yeah, Jose Pizarro at the press conference talked about a lot of things. First thing first, he was asked about the Sadiq Umar situation. It's become a major situation in the last couple of days. And he came out to say that he himself is confused, that he doesn't know what happened, that he was injured, and the medical team told him that he won't be fit for the next 15 days. And also he said that the club, that's Real Sociedad, were demanding for him to come back to Spain for recovery. I don't know if Real Sociedad would agree with that, because for the coach of Real Sociedad, that's Agusil, while addressing the media ahead of their Copa del Rey round of 16 game, said when they were contacted and was out injured, he said specifically that Sadiq Umar wanted to stay with the Super Eagles, but the Super Eagles medical team felt the evolution of his injury would not make him available for the Nations Cup, and that's why they sent him back to Spain. So contradictory statement from the Real Sociedad coach and Jose Pizarro. So it looks like something is missing somewhere. But it looks like, from where I am sitting, it looks like the medical team of the Super Eagles got it wrong.
Yeah, so that's the first thing for me when I saw that.
It looks like they got it wrong.
I know
it's swelling behind the knee. Shouldn't take 15 days to evolve. Worst case, a week. And that means you keep him in the team. Worst case, he misses 2 games. So it's left to be seen what the medical team. There's been some reports that the NFF are now questioning the medical team of the Super Eagles. Let's see if that is true or not. But talking more about the press conference, Jose Pizarro also talked about Victor Osimhen being available for the game against Cote d'Ivoire. Yes, he didn't train on Monday during the recovery session, but Jose Pizarro said it clearly that Victor Osimhen is available for the game against Cote d'Ivoire. Also talked about how competitive Cote d'Ivoire are, but they would step up against Cote d'Ivoire. And hopefully, God gives them the win. Talked about that after the game. He said, after the game against Equatorial Guinea, he said, God gives and God takes. That's why we didn't win.
Pizarro.
Now, in the press conference ahead of the Cote d'Ivoire game, Pizarro has come back again to talk philosophically, or maybe as a pastor or as a imam, to come out to say that hopefully God will give us the victory against Cote d'Ivoire. Last time I checked, hope is not a strategy. Praying is not a strategy. Ivorians pray as well. They pray to God as well. So it's about what you do on the pitch of play. If we don't get the tactics right, if the players don't take their chances, it's not about God. It's about what you do on the pitch of play. If they don't do enough, they'll lose again.
Yeah, so you're talking about tactics.
Didn't lose before. Don't say again.
Not true. We don't lose. Not draw.
Okay. Oh, John.
So speaking about tactics, Paul, you made mention of tactics. Let me take this to Toby. In terms of the setup in preparation for the game against the Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire, as you may want to call them, how do you think the coach should set up, at least for us to be able to compete in that game?
Toby, the setup is going to be hugely affected because, Paul, you left out the major information from the presser. Alassane will not be fit for the game.
Yeah, that's true. Alassane is out as well.
That's going to really affect our shape and our lineup. I really don't know what Pesaro is going to do in there because, we've analyzed previously who the options in the midfield are, and now the one that seems to be the best option is now missing out against the toughest team in the group. So will you go for Raf and Frank, or will you go for Iwobi to play in the deep role? I think this is a huge conundrum for Pesaro to solve. But if I were in his shoes, I'll just throw in Frank Onyeka, Iwobi, and then Onyedika and lock it up because the strength of the Ivorians is in their midfield. They've got Sangari, Kessie, and Seko Fofana, who have got a lot of industry. They are good technically. They can score goals. We saw that from Fofana, who is a defensive midfielder, but see the kind of goals he's scoring from the edge of the area in the first game of the tournament. So this industry, you have to match it. You have to match this industry. Yeah, you don't have to do another thing, but you have to match the industry. Trust me, because that's where everything starts from for the Ivorians. That midfield, they know how to drive the attack and they know how to also defend. So, do we have the midfielders that can match them? Not really. But if they give the 100% and if they work honestly and decently, I feel they can give them a good game and then prevent us from losing to the host. So the midfield for me is key, and I feel he needs to throw in Rafa Ndika, and then it will be in there and make it a very solid midfield. He will be asked to be restricted to a defensive role, less offensive like he was in the first game, maybe to play as a number 8 this time, and then we have Ralph and Frank playing as the double pivot.
How about Semi Ajayi? Because I know Semi Ajayi sometimes plays.
Yeah, might not be a bad idea.
What do you think?
Would you not throw in the defense? Well, maybe you throw in Calvin Bassey to pair with Trust. That would be a disaster.
Because we have a lot of options in the left back, right?
Even in the first game against Equatorial Guinea, despite not facing a lot of shots, Trustekon was one of the worst defenders on the pitch. So if you now want to leave Trustekon with Calvin Bassey against the front three, of the Ivorians, I think it's going to be a tough call. I won't want to go with that. I would rather have Semi Ajayi and Trostekon maintain their defensive partnership, to go against the front three of Boga, Krasu, and the third man of the Ivorian attack. I feel that they can stop. They can do a good number on them, those two, rather than having someone like Kevin Bassi, who is very eccentric, who can be prone to mistake. Pair someone like
and on the left back,
who does not give you a lot of confidence. The left back, I would play Bright. I'm a big fan of Bright.
Left back for Bright.
Yeah. Bright.
Play from the left. I think it's Olada.
Bruno. Sorry, Bruno.
Okay.
Bruno. Yeah.
The boy that plays in Portugal. I'm a fan of his, and I expected him to start. We said it in the last episode of the podcast. I was expecting him to start alongside Olaino as the fullbacks, but he came in the second half when Pesaro made his usual fullback substitution. So I hope Bruno will be starting in the left back position, while Olaino maintains the right back position. Trostekon and Semi Ajayi in the defense line. And attack, Moses Simon needs to sit on the bench, and Chukwueze will start alongside Lukman.
Chukwueze?
So yes, Chukwueze will start on the right, while Lukman starts on the left. That's what I would do. A 4-3-3 with three deep sitting midfielders. Yeah.
Oh, and then Victor Osimhen. How about now
of
we
course.
know
Osimhen, of course.
We know Paul Onachu also in camp. We also know that Kelechi Iheanacho has been declared fit. So would you be starting him, or would you be bringing him up from the bench?
I'll bring him from the bench. When it's time to attack, I'll bring him in, remove one of the midfielders. Maybe it will be one of the sitters, to give us an attacking presence. But we're playing against the host in front of probably 60,000 fans of the Ivorians. We have to be conservative. I don't think it will be a good time to go or go all out attack against them. We know they are better than us, they're stronger than us, and they're playing in front of their home fans. So why do you want to match them in terms of going for their jugular? I think we need to be conservative, at least for the start, the first 50-60 minutes, and then when we see that we can now attack them, bring on the likes of Kelechi, bring on the likes of Moses Simon, and then let us see what they can do from the bench.
How about Terry Murphy?
Yeah, that's also an option. If we need to go two strikers up top to play Victor Osimhen, we know Victor Osimhen, he naturally doesn't go out of the pitch when we play. When he plays for Nigeria, we do substitute him. He finishes the game. So by injuries, we can always go two up top at some point and pair Victor Osimhen with Murphy or Onachu, who is also an option on the bench. But for me, I'll be very, very conservative in this game. Three midfielders, two of them double pivots, and then two wingers and one striker.
Okay, makes sense. So let's hold it off. I know we're still going to go into the predictions and what we expect to see in that game. Just a quick one, Paul. Any updates on AFCON in terms of the players and other teams? So far, at least we've seen quite a number of teams play. So far, do you have any favorites? I know you predicted that Senegal was going to retain the title.
Senegal, the ball.
They started off with a 3-0 win.
Toby's confessing already.
I want to change my prediction. But Morocco has to play. So I'm relaxed.
Well, when it comes to Nations Cup news, let's talk with the game. Stick with the game involving Nigeria. Cote d'Ivoire as well. Their coach Gasset talked about Sebastian Haller not fit enough, but they'll be looking to see if he'll be fit enough for the game between Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire. So it's a fitness test, a late fitness test to see if the big man Sebastian Haller will be fit for Cote d'Ivoire against Nigeria. That will be a major blow for them.
Maybe I would no fit too.
But they've still got very good strikers now.
Also, for Cheku Kuyate left the camp of the champions, the Teranga Lions of Senegal, to go back home to bury his dad. His dad died on Tuesday, so he went back home. He's been released from the camp to go back home to pay his final rites when it comes to the burial of his father. So we just pray that he has the fortitude to bear the loss, and hopefully he's back for the Teranga Lions as they look to defend the nation. So that's basically major news coming in from the AFCON at this point.
How about Onana? Lots of stories surrounding
the Onana situation. The Onana situation, I think, it's just been overflowed. I don't think Onana expected to come in on Monday and be in the matchday squad on Monday as well. So I don't know where that story came from. And immediately the report came out. Yeah. Immediately the report came out, a whole lot of Cameroonian journalists attacked that particular journalist, saying, release an audio of that quote and we'll believe you. And the journalists could not say anything since then. So I don't believe that happened, I think Onana knew coming in on Monday basically means he will not be able to play for them. And on Tuesday, he was in training. He was in training with them. On Wednesday as well, he was in training with them. So expectation is that he should walk into the starting 11 when they play the champion Senegal later this week. So I don't see any issues with Onana. I think Onana will come in for his cousin Fabrice Ondoa as the number 1 goalkeeper for their next game against. It's a must-win game for them. After dropping points against Guinea, they need all their key players back. They were expecting Vincent Aboubakar to be fit as well. So you have Aboubakar, you have Onana back. It makes them stronger against the Senegalese national team.
Yeah, I think the Guineans actually played well. Now, seeing that game, I could understand.
The Guineans are very good.
Yeah,
they're very good. And we have to put it in context that in that game, Naby Keita didn't start. Same Guirassy didn't start. These are their major players. Experience when it comes to Keita and industry and goal scoring for Guirassy is one of the best strikers in Europe at this point in time. He was out injured. He had to go with Mohamed Bayo. Bayo scored in the absence of Guirassy. So they have quality. The Guinean side are not a bad side. Maybe one of the dark horses for this competition.
I agree with you as well. So yeah, let's take predictions. I know, Paul, you got the predictions right the last time. You said it was going to be a 1-1 draw with Equatorial Guinea. I'll start with you, Toby. What are your predictions? Give us your prediction and also give us what you think our performance is going to look like in the game against the
I thought you started the Octopus 4.
Octopus 4. Not true, Octopus 4.
Personally, I don't see a victory for the Super Eagles against the host Ivory Coast. I think if we get a draw, it will be a good result. But my head is telling me we're gonna lose the game. I'm saying 2-0, 2-1, somewhere in between.
Pick one.
Paul has put me under pressure.
Yeah,
I'm not putting you under pressure.
I'll go for a 2-1 loss.
2-1 loss.
Ivory Coast to win. Ivory Coast to win.
How about you, Paul?
Let's see.
Octopus 4.
There's nothing octopus about me. It just happened on Sunday, so let's not attach too much importance to the future.
I will stick on this one, but let's go.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll go with Toby as well. Cote d'Ivoire to win. But I think maybe it's by 2-0. I don't see the Super. Maybe the Super Eagles don't score. 2-0. Cote d'Ivoire to win 2-0.
Okay, Cote d'Ivoire to win 2-0. So my prediction.
I hope this prediction doesn't come to pass. I'm rooting for the Super Eagles.
I hope so too.
So my prediction, if you ask me, I think the Super Eagles will not lose the second game, and it might be difficult for us to win. So I see a draw in that game. It's going to be a draw, and I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw again, and then we go over to the line.
I think I'm leaning towards Toby's 1-1
I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw because following the Super Eagles, when you come to AFCON, there's a lot of pressure. I'm sure the government's already calling. Stakeholders are already shouting, so that pressure, that's what usually happens for AFCON.
Yeah, there are reports that they went into the dressing room to shout on them on Sunday.
Yeah, so I think the players would come all out trying to prove a point against Ivory Coast. And with footballers, when they play high competition or they play high opposition or opposition with good quality, they try to bring the best on the floor, right? So I think it's going to end in a 1-1 draw. But I don't see Super Eagles winning. If the Super Eagles win, man, that would be very good for us. Yeah. So
I like where Toby's coming from. But the problem is, yes, it's a big game. They want to step up. Trustekon talked about that in the press conference that they will step up against a top side. But the problem is, if the manager does not get the tactics and the personnel right, the whole talk about playing well against a big team will not come to pass. They will still end up losing. So it's about the coach and getting his tactics and personnel right.
Okay, so nice predictions there, guys. So I'm gonna leave it open to the viewers on the comment section. Let us know what your predictions are for the game Nigeria versus Ivory Coast. Do you agree with Toby or you agree with Octopus Paul that Nigeria is going to lose the game? So let us know on the comment section. Also, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to bring you more exciting stories from the AFCON as well as the EPL in the future also. So it's been nice talking to you guys. Hopefully after the game, we are excited and we are able to talk about the Nigeria versus Guinea-Bissau game. It's been nice talking to every one of you. And
it's a pleasure being on Football Buffet.
Yeah, glad to be here. I hope you guys enjoy all of our content.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.